When a scared young woman called the police about a break-in and a murder, most people wouldn't think she was lying. But sometimes, really awful things aren't as straightforward as they seem. This happened on November 8, 2010, in Unionville, Markham, Ontario. 3 armed men barged into the Pan family's home, which was in a rich area. They pointed guns at Jennifer Pan's terrified parents, Han and Bick, and searched the house, demanding all their money. After taking everything valuable, the burglars took Bick and Han to the basement. They shot both of them many times. Bick died immediately, but Han somehow survived. He was taken to Markham Stouffville Hospital and then to Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto for more critical care. At first, when Jennifer talked to the police, she acted just like anyone would, in shock and really upset. But later on, investigators found some problems in her story. They discovered that she wasn't just an innocent victim. Instead, she had planned the murder. It was part of a cruel plan to get money from her parents' life insurance. It was shocking because she seemed like someone who had been through a lot, but she had actually orchestrated this terrible event.
You can't point the finger at someone else. You can't tell us to go off in a different direction. You just got to tell us the truth.
I know.
Exactly. And do you have any questions with respect to what I've just told you?
It's just like sitting, sometimes like parts come back that I didn't remember when I spoke.
No one is, and that's the process. This is going to be a long process. This is an initial statement from you. We may, as you remember other things, you may be asked, you may want to come in and tell us things, okay? No one is going to tell you how to give a perfect statement. You just do what the best you can, given what you're dealing with, okay?
Suddenly I just heard my mom calling for my dad to come down, and that's when I lowered the volume on my TV, and I could hear the voices weren't any voices I was very familiar with, and so I was scared and I couldn't move. I just sat in my room for a while, and then I thought I heard them all leave the top floor, and I peered out of my bedroom door.
During Jennifer's interview with the detective, she was asked to tell her what happened on the day of the murder. But how she acted didn't match someone who had just been through a terrifying event. At the start, she strangely called the intruders gentlemen, which seemed odd. It was as if she was repeating something she'd practiced, not reacting to the scary situation she'd been in.
And a guy was there, and he came at me and had string in his hands and tied my arms back and said, "I have a gun behind your back. Do what I say. If you do what I say, then no one will get hurt. Where is the money? Show me where your money is." A bit of money put aside from when I was waitressing, cash. So I showed him where it was, and he took it and put it in his pocket, I think. And then they pushed me to my parents' room and asked me where the money was there, and I didn't really know. So they kind of one was right beside me, blocking my way to the door, while the other ones turned over the bed to find some more cash in my mom's bedside table, in which then they dragged me down the stairs and made me kneel at the bottom, telling me to face down on the floor, while the other guy had a gun behind my head, and asked my mom where her purse was. My mom kept trying to get up, and they kept telling her, "Sit down," and so I didn't want her to get hurt, so I told her, "Mom, sit down." They were trying to find her wallet. They kept pushing her down onto the chair. And then one of the gentlemen asked my father if he had money in his wallet and where his wallet was.
In this situation, Jennifer is telling the police about how burglars broke into her home, threatened her with guns, and killed her mom. Even though she looks very upset, she keeps herself together surprisingly well, especially since it's just a few hours after the break-in. She talks about what happened calmly and logically, without crying or sharing details in a messy way. This makes the detective suspicious. During the first talk with the detective, Jennifer keeps this strange calmness. Sometimes, she even acts really sad, almost like she's playing a role and suddenly remembering what she's supposed to do. The detective finds this behavior odd and starts questioning if Jennifer is being honest about the whole story.
I heard my dad go up the stairs, and at that point, I had my phone on me, behind me, that I had hidden there that they didn't know about. So when I thought that they had heard them all leave and my dad ran up the stairs, I whipped up the phone and I called 911. But I still hadn't heard anything from my mom, and all I could hear was my dad running on the street, just moaning and making sounds. And that's pretty much what I've...
So what happens? Continue on from now to the point that the police arrive. That you don't have to talk to us if you don't want to, but the importance of talking to us, and if you're talking to us, the importance of telling the truth. And if you don't tell the truth, there's criminal consequences for not telling the truth.
Here, Jennifer talks about hearing her parents getting shot in the basement. It's odd because she doesn't seem deeply connected to what happened. She talks about it like she saw it all from far away, not like she was actually there. Even though people saw Jennifer as an innocent victim at first, the investigators started doubting her story because things didn't add up.
Want to leave me alone, and that my dad was outside. I was yelling to him, but he wouldn't come in. I don't know if he didn't hear me, he didn't come in. I think he went to go look for help. And I didn't get to see my dad at all until before I left the hospital just now.
How did you get free?
The cop came and he snipped the two strings off for me. I was asking them for so long, and they said they couldn't untie me until they knew how to properly untie the string.
Okay.
They decided to bring her in for another talk just 2 days later to clear things up. This turned out to be a huge turning point in the investigation, although the investigators didn't know it yet. During the next interview, Jennifer seems more nervous. They ask her to tell what happened again to double-check the details. But secretly, the detectives are trying to build evidence against her, thinking she might not be telling the truth. Before long, Jennifer slips up and makes a big mistake.
My father was sitting on the right, and my mother was sitting on the left.
Sitting where?
On our couch.
Sitting on the couch. Are they looking out towards you?
No, their backs are towards me.
Okay. And you're now on the ground level? Are you on the floor? Or on the
I'm sitting on the
stairs?
floor. I'm sitting on the floor.
All right, where are your hands?
They had tied my hands.
Until now, Jennifer had been telling the same story she'd said before. But this time, she forgets to say that she was tied up before they took her downstairs.
Let's get back to that area. I think you might have touched on it when we went back into the description. So where do you get your hands tied, and where does the string come from?
I'm not sure where the string comes from, but he had the string.
Okay.
And after I gave him my money, that's when he tied my hands.
The detective focused on this and asked how Jennifer managed to call 911 with her hands tied. Jennifer luckily stood up and showed how she could move to make the call and speak into her phone. This part of Jennifer's story might make some sense, but then she tells the detectives something else that doesn't match up, talking about what happened after the burglars left.
They tied my upper arm.
Yes.
Around the banister.
Yes.
But my hands were bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the banister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call?
I started hearing my parents get up. And they're moving. And my mom's yelling, "Where's my daughter? I want my daughter. Where's my daughter?" And I'm yelling, "Mom, I'm here."
Here, Jennifer, take a Kleenex and just take a minute.
The door closed. I heard my father. He ran up the stairs and all I could hear was moaning. Yeah. Once I heard him starting to move, that's when I pulled out the phone and I was trying to call 911.
The investigators noticed something wasn't right with Jennifer's story timeline. They heard on the 911 call when she discovered her dad survived. Then, the investigators started asking more about Jennifer's life. That's when she shared details about her tough relationship with her parents. They pushed her a lot in school and controlled her relationships, which she described as almost abusive.
What I want to do now is I want to go into your past, okay? And start talking about things that have been going on with you. How did you feel about that? How did you feel about having to lie to your parents?
I felt guilty, but every time I tried to bring it up, there was just so much expectation.
Did you have any resentment towards them for this?
I chose what I chose, but in the end I chose my family.
Detectives found out Jennifer had been lying to her parents a lot. She faked her high school report cards and made a fake letter saying she got into the University of Toronto. She made up stories about staying near the campus with a friend, but she was really with Daniel Wong, her on and off boyfriend. Her parents didn't want her to see him because he sold marijuana. When her parents finally found out she'd been seeing Wong secretly, they gave her a choice: stop seeing him and focus on education, or get cut off from the family. This was too much for Jennifer. With Daniel Wong's help, Jennifer got two guys, David Milvaganam and Eric Carty, to rob her house and kill her parents. She let them in herself. The way the burglars hurt her parents while leaving her untouched caught the detectives' attention. They got close to Jennifer, gaining her trust, and then started confronting her about lying. Her dad, who had been in a coma, woke up and told the detectives a different story. He said Jennifer wasn't tied up at all, and she was walking around freely while talking to the intruders.
We're still trying to figure out how they got in your house. Like, you didn't hear a doorbell, you didn't hear a door knock, you didn't hear a door kicked in, you didn't
I said I was watching TV on the phone. I don't know how.
Yeah, I know. We went over that back and forth. We don't know how. So somehow they got into your house by getting through your mom down on the lower level, right? Because she's the only one who's down there.
She's the only one down there.
So it's very confusing. Generally, random events are not, in most cases, random. There's a rhyme or reason why they've come to your house. But from what you've told me inside the house, the only thing that you hear them saying to you is they're looking for money. They're not looking for a specific quantity of money?
No.
So you're telling me that you had no involvement in what happened, meaning not saying how the outcome came, but you had no involvement in any type of illegal activity that would have drawn you or the attention of you to have bad people come to your house looking for large sums of money. You're not involved in this any which way. Because the question obviously stands, Jennifer, is you're upstairs and they're downstairs. Right? So it's a natural concern why would they leave you alone? Why would they not do the same to you? You can't answer that question?
The only thing I can say is he said I cooperated. But I asked him to take me.
The number one guy said you cooperated. Who's to say this whole thing isn't a lie? That what you're telling me is a lie? Because if you are lying, it's the most cold-blooded thing that I've ever faced in my life. That you may have had towards your parents for the interference in your relationship and your life and essentially locking you down in your house.
At the end of the day, I love my parents and I chose to be with them. And if I wanted to, I could have just left, but I didn't. I wanted to stay with them and take care of them.
So this wasn't some evil plot that you thought up to...
Oh my God, no.
No interaction, no belief, you didn't have anything to do with this thing at all, whatsoever. No. You don't engage in illegal activity?
No.
Because you know that it'll be very easy. It will be a very easy thing to discredit you on, right? We're in the process of trying to add credibility to what you tell us, and that's through the process of asking people and doing whatever. Through that same process, it will be very easy to find the flaws in what you've said, which again then turns the focus back to you. Okay? It's a natural progress. It's a natural thing that investigators do. We eliminate people, or we draw our attention to them. It's a natural thing. It's not brain surgery. Okay?
Now that they knew Jennifer was part of the crime, the detectives wanted her to tell exactly how she was involved. Jennifer keeps telling lies and dodging questions that might make her look guilty. It's a lot like when she was first questioned. The investigators keep pushing to make her confess, trying to make her feel trapped until she admits that she hired someone to kill her parents.
The reason why I'm here today, okay, is that I'm an expert, okay, in what we call truth verification. I talk to thousands of people, okay, and I basically know when somebody's not being straightforward with me, okay. I can tell by the language they use, how they answer the question, their body language, how they treat the question. that something's wrong here. Okay, this doesn't make sense. I am well aware that anybody on this earth is capable of making a mistake. Okay? I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're a priest. I don't care if they're a school teacher. I don't care what the situation is. Given a certain set of circumstances, everyone has the capability, Jennifer, of making mistakes. Doing the wrong. I'll tell you one thing is that we already know, so you can't change that. I know you did. But it got too far ahead of you, right? You didn't think this far ahead, did you? But once they started, once they came in, you couldn't stop it, could you? Could you? Jen? I know. Why didn't they stop for you?
I don't know who they were.
But you were part of the planning, right? You have to tell me that part, and then we're going to work through it together. You know what I'm saying? You didn't want this, you wanted to stop it. You have to prove that to me now. Because at the end of the day, we have to stop this from happening to someone else. Right? Jen, we're going to have to deal with it one step at a time, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. I need to know what you... Sorry, aren't you? Where we're supposed to take you? What? So we're supposed to take the whole family out?
No, just me.
What went wrong? Figure skating, that's wonderful. Why would somebody shoot someone they didn't have to shoot?
I don't know. I can't figure that out.
And actually not shoot the person they're supposed to shoot?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, why didn't you tell us this that night?
I was scared.
Scared of what? Telling the truth?
Yes.
The good thing about this is your dad did live. And that went against the plan. If you could make this decision over, you would change it. Okay? You would change it. Right?
Of course. Because I knew he was going to get hurt. Of course I would.
Jen, you knew who was going to get hurt. That's the whole issue here. Okay, that's the whole issue here. You gave them the plan for your parents, right? That's all I need to hear.
No.
Jen, tell me what happened.
I told you what happened.
Okay. All of it.
You did.
Okay. All you have to do is tell me right now. Bill, yes, I made a mistake.
So,
This plan was for my parents.
Even after spending a lot of time trying to make Jennifer admit everything, she still won't confess everything she did in the crime. Even though she tries hard to avoid talking about it, the investigators have collected enough proof to accuse her. The video of Jennifer being questioned became crucial in her trial. She kept saying she didn't do it and pleaded not guilty. But in the end, she and her 4 partners got a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. Jennifer, now 34, is in the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener, Ontario. She might be up for parole in November 2035 when she's 49. And if you enjoy true crime videos like this, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Thank you for joining.